Hi everyone, I'm Kat and welcome to my channel, Naturally Beautiful Girl. So I thought I'd sit down with you and do a get ready with me and catch you up on what's going on in my life. So let's just hop into applying some makeup. So actually I have to run some errands a little bit later today, and so I'm going to start off with some sunscreen. All the products that I'm going to be using will be listed and linked in the description box down below in case I forget to mention something, but I'll try and mention what I'm using kind of as we're going along. I actually haven't used this in a while, so I decided to use this sunscreen today. This is the Unrivaled Sun Serum SPF 35 from 11 by Venus, and this one you have to shake up a lot, so we're gonna do some of that. But yeah, I'm sure the title and the thumbnail are giving away kind of what this video is going to be about, but yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. But actually, yeah, so this afternoon I have to run over to the grocery store, and normally we do like one big grocery store trip and we'll drive to the grocery store because we do live in the city and it's a lot easier to drive than trying to like carry groceries. I've done that before. It's easier when you live by yourself. Like my husband would just like walk to the grocery store and carry groceries, and I used to do that some in college as well. But when you're trying to get enough groceries for two people, and especially because we're not really eating out much at the moment, we're really cooking almost all of our meals at home. We do get takeout every once in a while, but not nearly as much as we used to. I mean, we didn't eat out a lot, especially compared to a lot of our friends. But you know what I mean? Just like we're eating out less. I think most people are in general. For that reason, you know, we have quite a bit of groceries we're trying to get every week. But it seems like, as inevitably ends up happening, we actually forgot to pick up a few things. So we need to run over to like our local, it's kind of like a city grocery store. They're like smaller and they don't have everything, but they have most stuff that you need. And we just need some like dairy-free milk and also some dairy-free cheese because I'm going to make a dairy-free like eggplant parmesan because I absolutely love eggplant parmesan. Actually, eggplants are like one of my favorite foods to eat in general. So we're going to pick that up. Yeah, sorry, this is taking me a while to get this all mixed up. There we go. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna be doing, and it'll be nice to just take a little walk around the neighborhood. We try and do that. You know, it's just nice to get out of the house and walk around a bit because we're honestly not really going out much still. It's not the greatest in this area. I mean, it's better than it was, but still, yeah, there are more cases than we would like to see, and also. Part of the problem too is that there are a lot of colleges in the Boston area and a lot of college students currently in Boston. So, yeah, we're just trying to be careful and not go out more than we need to because we do have the option, both of us, of working from home currently. And so we're still doing that. Yeah, I guess I haven't updated you guys on that in a while. My office is actually open. It has been for a while, but like I literally know one person who's gone into the office with any regularity. There's just not a lot of point. My work is such that I can work from home really easily. In fact, we had designated work from home Wednesdays prior to any of this even starting. So we were already pretty set up for remote work. And so there's not a lot of option, or there's not a lot of need to go into the office. I do miss seeing my colleagues. That would be the only reason I would go in. But then if I went in, like you can't sit together and you can't really like interact with each other, and they limit the number of people. So I wouldn't really be able to see my colleagues, so that wouldn't help that much either. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this sunscreen. I'm kind of like back and forth on it. Like I really like the idea of it, but I just always worry about whether I've got the sunscreen like properly mixed up into the products. So that's kind of my concern about it, and that's why I don't reach for it that much. But I'm not going to be out super long today, so I'm not as worried about the sunscreen aspect as I normally would be. Okay, I think for foundation, let's see, I actually want to use the Westman Atelier stick foundation. I'm still trying to figure out my thoughts on that, so might as well use it again today. I do like the shade of it so far. I have Atelier N, and I find that that is a really good shade match for me. To get into what you guys are all curious about, I'm guessing, is yeah, we found a house and are going to be moving. So my plan for when I post this video is for it to go up pretty close to when our closing is going to be. Probably this video will actually go up right after we close. I just want to do that because, well, if it doesn't close properly, you won't be seeing this video, but I just want to wait until everything is like really settled, because I don't know, especially I feel like with 2020 and like all the craziness of this year, it always makes me nervous to like preemptively be like, oh yeah, we're moving. And yeah, we've reached a point in the process, like when I'm filming this, that there's not a lot that could really stop the closing from actually happening properly, but you never know. I think that's what 2020 has taught us. But if you're seeing this video, it means that we have closed properly, and we will in fact be moving within about a week, or around a weekish. Or I guess if I post this a little bit later, then we might actually already be in the process of moving. So yeah, the whole story is actually really crazy. It's like one of those things where everything just kind of like, oops, hair's falling down. It's one of those things where everything just kind of like lined up, and in a very unexpected way. So I guess to start off the story, we'd been looking, well, so to go back to the beginning, we'd been looking a little bit at houses last year. So 2019, around this time, we started going to open houses just to get a feel for like the price in our area, and like what kinds of things we liked, what kinds of things we didn't like what were our priorities of what we're looking for, because we knew we weren't quite ready to buy at that time. And so we were like, okay, we'll wait, probably 2020, 2021, we'll try and purchase. And then everything with the world happened, and we were like, okay, we won't purchase in 2020. But then I was looking on Zillow, and I just like can check Zillow every once in a while, and I saw what was very much like the ideal house in terms of like location, price, like number of bedrooms, all of that. And so I ended up connecting with a realtor on Zillow, who ended up being our realtor for actually finding a house, which was very fortuitous. She was awesome, and it was crazy because we just kind of like accidentally met her on Zillow, and we'd met a few realtors at open houses, but we hadn't connected with any of them. We just felt like they were not listening to us and trying to sell us things like outside of our budget, or just like to sell us things that we weren't interested in. And especially as first-time home buyers, like we really wanted to find a realtor that we trusted, because this is obviously a very, it's a very big step in your life, and you want to be doing it with a team of people that you really trust. And just like when we spoke to her on the phone, like everything she said really resonated with us, so we decided to work with her. But in the meantime, even though everything that's going on in the world, the housing market in Boston has been like crazier than ever, and it's a super competitive market anyway, and somehow this whole situation has just made it more competitive. So by the time we went and got pre-approved for a mortgage, and we're going to go look at the one property we initially saw, it had gone off the market actually. So someone had already put an offer in on it. And this happened in the space of like a week or two, just for a frame of reference here. So that all happened, but then we're like, okay, well, we're pre-approved now, we might as well start looking. So we did start looking, and we've been looking pretty much on and off since like July. And we'd gotten to a point, we'd put an offer in. How many offers have we put in? We put in an offer, and then we had it, oh yes, so this is how this all started. We put in an offer on a place. We got outbid. We put in a very competitive offer. It was over asking price, waived the home inspection, and we got outbid. And then we were like, well, okay, maybe this is a sign we should wait till 2021, because we'd actually just renewed our lease on our apartment, and we're like, well, okay, maybe we should wait. And so we decided to wait. But then our like dream house went on the market. Hold on, let me grab a blush, and I will be right back. All right, I grabbed the Perez Carrot Color Pot in the shade Harmony, and I just need to grab like the tiniest amount of this, because this is like a super pigmented blush. Okay, so anyway, how we ended up here. I saw our dream house in terms of like, I would say location was like almost perfect. It wasn't quite perfect, but it was workable. I do need to be able to take public transit to get to my office, and at some point I will most likely need to return to my office. We're not entirely sure what that timeline will be, but I will likely need to go back. And so I need to be able to get in with public transportation. And this first place was one where I would need to take the bus, which would work, but I am right now accustomed to taking the subway. So I was like, okay, like the location's pretty good, but in terms of like the house itself, it was pretty much perfect. So we were like, okay. So we decided to put an offer on that one. We had kind of learned from our first experience of putting an offer that you need to put in like a really competitive offer. So we put in one over the listing price, waived the home inspection like quite a bit over the listing price, and like just made it as aggressive as possible. And we still got outbid by 2 other people. And there were like 7 bids total on the house. So we were kind of like, oh, this is rough. So we were I was pretty heartbroken because I really thought that was our house. Like I thought that was it. I could really see myself living there. I was like, this was perfect. I'd have so much space. Like it was just everything I'd wanted. And then, so I was like, okay. But in that process, we actually had decided to raise our budget a little bit, and it was still like, we could still afford in this range. I don't know, I'm the kind of person, and my husband is too, that we just don't want to spend more money than we need to. So we were trying to be like a little bit conservative in terms of the house. In terms of the price of the house, but kind of after that whole situation, we were like, okay, we need to like raise our budget a little bit. That way, if we get into a bidding war again, we have a little bit more flexibility to be able to bid a bit more competitively. So we were like, okay. So when we did that, I started looking, it kind of opened up a few more properties that we hadn't looked at previously. And that's how I found the house that we're actually moving to. It had come on the market like basically at the start of everything going on. So it was like April, and it was overpriced, like really overpriced. And basically because of everything that's going on in the world and being overpriced, it hadn't sold, and it just kept sitting on the market and sitting on the market. And then finally it kept coming down in price, and it came down to a price that was still above our budget. But when we looked at like the comparable properties, what it should actually sell for was like at the very top end of our budget. So we were like, okay, we'll put in an offer there, see where we end up, and see if we can get it. And the sellers, especially because they'd been trying to sell their house for so long, actually ended up taking our offer. I say actually, but they did end up taking our offer, which was awesome. So I thought the last house before this one, offer number 2, was the perfect house. But this one's actually better because it's actually extremely close to where we're living now. So it's kind of funny. It was like it was sitting there waiting for us to find it. And it's like the price came down, we raised our budget, the timing worked, and we all like met in the middle. And it is awesome. Like I'm super, super excited. It's actually a little larger than what we were initially looking for. And I think because of the timing of all of it, we were actually able to get a little bit larger house, which I'm very, very grateful for. And it may not seem like a lot if you don't live in the city, but trying extra square footage is hard to come by. And so it's just really, really nice to be able to have just like a little bit extra space. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure what our filming setup is going to be. Right now we do have an extra room, so I think it's going to be like the filming / exercise room because we aren't going to the gym right now. Actually, the gym, that's a whole story. The gym we used actually is one of those like city sports clubs, but they have Boston Sports Club in Boston, and they've actually filed for bankruptcy. So we're not really even sure the gym kind of exists anymore. So we've been working out from home this whole time. And even if the gym like wasn't filing for bankruptcy, we still wouldn't want to go just because we don't feel safe. But anyway, that being said, there's going to be a room that I think part of it will end up being a filming room for me, and then the other side of the room will be a kind of workout area. So we're going to have to see how that all works out. But that should be fun. It'll be exciting. You guys will get a different background to look at. I'm going to have to decorate that. I was thinking that could be a fun video. I wouldn't say I'm good at interior decorating at all, which is really funny because my mom is actually really, really good at like interior decorating. She's not a designer, but She used to work in advertising. When she was working, she's not working, she's retired. But when she was working in, she's working in advertising. So she's very much like an artistic visual person. And she's so good at interior decorating. Or my parents' house is just beautiful. And a lot of her friends, when they need to decorate a room or something, actually ask her to basically help them decorate it. So she's like an interior decorator that's not actually an interior decorator. So yeah, if you guys would like to see me kind of decorating / setting up a filming area, let me know, and I can definitely film that for you guys. But yeah, I'm just like really, really excited. It's a little, it's scary, especially purchasing your first home, and especially with everything that's going on in the world. It is very, very scary, but it's also a huge relief because it means like we don't have to keep looking anymore. Like we found it, we have found our home. And the one thing too, I have to say it's nice about it being a little larger than what we initially were looking for is we feel like this could be, it probably won't be our forever home because who actually has a forever home nowadays? But it can be a home that like is more of a long-term home for us, which is great. Like we have space to grow if we ever decide to have kids. So big if. I really don't want to get into that, but neither one of us are entirely. We're kind of on the fence about whether or not to have kids, but it really depends on like day to day. Like one day it'll be like yes, and the next day we'll be like no, this is a terrible idea. But if we do decide to have kids, there's like room for them. It's really nice, and it's in an area we love and know already super well, so we're excited about that. Oh man, I got a haircut. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I did get a haircut and my hair just keeps falling down because it's a little shorter in the front, and I always clip my hair back, which is not working the best right now. So let me see if I can get this secured back a little better. It may not be the cutest, but hopefully this will hold. Okay. Whew. Let's see if that'll hold at least for me to get my makeup finished. I'm gonna fill in my brows using the Pacifica High Stuff Hemp Fiber Brow Gel. I'm gonna take a side note here. I'll go back to the whole like moving thing in a moment, but I recently, this is kind of a crazy thing. I feel like this is one of these things that's like, being stuck at home this long, you start like having these ideas, and sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're really bad. But I finally decided to purchase eyebrow scissors and trim my eyebrows, and that was such a good idea. As you can tell, I have quite thick eyebrows. I definitely have been trying to grow them out from the early 2000s when I severely overplucked them, as I think everyone did. But I have been growing them out, but I do have some really long eyebrow hairs, and I just like wasn't really sure what to do with them before. I would try and kind of like bend them and get them into a shape I wanted, or I would just get so frustrated with them, I would end up just like plucking them out, even though they were part of my brow shape and in an area of the brow where I wanted hair. But they were just so long, they just would like get everywhere and not go where I wanted them to, and I hated how it looked, so I just would end up plucking them. But I finally bought scissors, and I was like very conservative with how much I was cutting, because that's one thing we've all learned from the early 2000s is like you do not want to just go wild with your brows. Like you can end up in a bad place really fast. But honestly, just like trimming my brow hairs has made such a huge difference. Like I'm so much happier with how my brows look. Like when I just put gel in them like this, like I just like how they look. I just feel like they look so much more groomed and manageable. And all I did was take a little tiny pair of scissors, comb them up with spoolie, and just like very carefully trim them. So if you're in a similar place with your brows, I highly recommend trimming them. Like I said, be very careful and do it very conservatively, but it honestly just made a huge difference for me. But yeah, so we're, in the process of moving, and I don't know how, so I've grown a lot in my channel since we last moved about 1.5 years ago. So if you weren't with me last time when we moved, I was actually in the process of finishing up my thesis and defending my thesis and graduating from my PhD program. So basically, moving last time was super chaotic, as in I couldn't really do anything. I was just like very strapped for time. It was, you know, very much down to the wire. So we actually hired movers, which exists, which is super cool. That came, like literally box everything up and then like move it all for you. All we had to do was just unbox it at the other side, which wasn't great, but I turned in my thesis kind of like right before we actually moved. And then so by the time we were unpacking, I was at least in a spot where I could like meaningfully help with unpacking. But what that meant though was like, normally before I move, I like to kind of like go through and clean out stuff. And I really just didn't have an opportunity to do that. So this time I'm trying to take a lot more time and just like go through what I have and figure out, okay, like what do I want to keep? What do I not want to keep? That way it's just not, I'm not moving things that I'm not actually using. So that's been what's been keeping me busy recently, but you know, it's good. It's always good to go through and clean out every once in a while. So this is definitely motivating me to do that. Not sure what I want to do for eyes today. I definitely, well actually here, let me do a little bit of spot concealing on a few breakouts on my face that I have, but I definitely want to do something warm toned because I'm wearing this really lovely warm toned sweater. I'm super excited about moving, but that's also been why I haven't been posting as much on Instagram and just like haven't been quite as present as usual, is because like this has been chaotic. Like obviously I knew going into it that home buying was like just an ordeal, and I'm sure even if you haven't done it, you've known people who've done it, or you know, whatever, you've heard about this and how much of an ordeal it is. But it's just like all consuming. Like looking at houses takes so much time. It was just like eating up so much time on our weekends. And then just like the whole process of like putting in an offer and then going through all the hoops. It's, you know, getting the home inspection done, which is another awesome thing with this house, because it had been sitting for a while. We were actually able to get a home inspection on it, which is pretty rare in this area. I mean, you should get a home inspection if you at all can. It's just this market is so competitive that a lot of times if you put a home inspection clause in, you'll find someone else who will waive it. But we were actually able to get inspected, which is awesome. But yeah, it's just like it takes up so much time, and it's, in a lot of ways I'm glad like we're done now and we don't have to go through this again, but it's just been like all consuming. So that's why I've been a little bit more absent. Ooh, you know what I haven't used in a while? I'm gonna use my Ilia Warm Nudes palette. I just saw this when I was reaching around in my drawer. It is beautiful, and I feel like it'll look really nice with this look. This is the old packaging, which by the way, mine's like, the Ilia one is kind of like wearing off, which isn't great, but the shadows are still good. So that's why we keep using this one, and I haven't replaced it yet. But first, of course, we're gonna start off with the Aaron's Faces eye primer. Always use this. Like, I'm telling you guys, if you have hooded or oily or hooded and oily eyelids, you gotta check this out. Like, it is game changing. I also am, one of the things that all this home buying process has caused to happen is I've gotten super into watching like decorating shows on TV. Well, not on TV, but on like Netflix. Like I watched the Studio McGee special, and like I've been watching a lot of like DIY, like home decor decorating channels, because our furniture, and I think this is like the state of most people our age, our furniture is like very mishmashed. Like we have a few pieces we bought that are actually pretty nice. I don't know if you can see the desk. There's two desks here. You can't really see what this room looks like, but that's my husband's desk, and then my desk is like right here, and you can't quite see it. It's just right off to the right of where I'm filming. But those are like nice desks from Westman. We invested in a nice couch maybe a year or two ago. My husband has a really actually nice dresser he found on Craigslist. I need to get that refinished / refinish it myself. I'm a little nervous to refinish it myself, just because I consider myself to be a pretty handy, capable person, especially with being a scientist and, you know, fixing equipment and doing stuff in lab. Like, I'm pretty handy, but I don't want to mess up refinishing the entire dresser. So I think I might hire someone at some point to do that. I think I'm going to start by putting this shade all over my lid. So yeah, I'm trying to get a lot of inspiration and just get ideas because, I mean, I'm not going to do this all at once. Like, buying a home is really expensive. And there are various things that we need to have repaired because it is an older house. And like, those are definitely priorities. Like, you want to make sure your house is in good shape before you start spending a whole bunch of money decorating it because, yeah, making sure the home is like in the best condition it can be is like priority number one, especially with older homes. But I am trying to like get ideas and figure out like what things I like and what things I don't, because it's really weird because I've lived in an apartment. I've lived in apartments since when I graduated from undergrad. I've been living in apartments, and like obviously I have decorated them, but I've never been able to like paint the walls or, you know, I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to figure out like what I like, what I don't like, and just really get ideas for these rooms and for the style. And especially because we have like a lot of rooms and we have a lot of space, there's just a lot more like ideas, you know, a lot more things we can do. I'm just trying to figure out like what makes sense. So if you have any like favorite like shows either on YouTube or Netflix or Amazon or anything like that that I should check out for like inspiration and ideas, let me know. Or Instagram. I've been following a lot of like home decor like Instagram pages as well. Let me know in the comment section down below what I should be checking out. But I do know that I like mid-century modern, also like a bit of modern. I've been trying to figure out my style. I guess I would say like mid-century modern, a little bit of like contemporary, and a bit of like boho, but also art deco as well. But I don't like, my husband didn't laugh at me, but I describe it like I don't like anything with like curly cues on it. Like I like geometric, just like clean lines, nothing like scrolls or anything like that. Like that's how I would describe my style, which I think works. I mean, I think most people can figure out the general idea of what I like from that description, but I'm trying to like come up with ideas and stuff because it's super cool and super exciting, but I also don't want to like make mistakes and like purchase things I don't like, you know, I want to make sure I'm actually creating spaces that I would enjoy and you know, not just enjoy, but will enjoy for a long time too. I don't want it to be like super trendy either, if that makes sense. And also, I mean, you have to keep in mind, like, you're working with an older home. Like, it's got original trim on it, original wood floors. Like, that's the style as well. You have to keep in mind, like, you're not gonna go completely modern in, you know, an older home. So that's that too. But yeah, so that's been our big excitement recently. Also, after you've seen this, my husband will have just turned 30 actually, so it's a big birthday for him. I originally was going to throw a surprise birthday party for him, but obviously like that wasn't able to happen, but his parents did come and visit. I should also mention we've gone to visit his parents too, but we're in driving distance to each other, and his parents are super careful. And also his dad is a physician. His mom is a dentist as well, but his dad especially is being tested weekly, so we feel really safe seeing them. They're some of the most cautious, actually I would say they're probably the most cautious people we know, and they feel very safe because like we aren't going out and doing things either. So that was nice, but that also was exciting. I don't know, it's kind of like exciting and sad because this year has been like, especially for us, it's been like terrible and amazing all at once. Like obviously purchasing a home, like this is going to be something we will personally never forget. Like my husband and I are going to remember 2020 is the year we bought our first house. But it's also, you know, been a horrible year. Like it's been rough, and there's no way, you know, you're going to be able to erase that from your memory either. I just remember, it's better now, but I just remember being so scared in the beginning. I don't even think I talked about this fully on my channel, but like so scared in like March. Like I didn't even want to go outside to walk around our neighborhood. Like I didn't feel safe doing that. It just felt like if you left your house and went outside, you might die. And that's like a crazy thing. And like, obviously the more we know, like the more we understand, the less I feel that way. But that was like a real feeling for a while, which was crazy. Yeah, I really like how this look is turning out. I obviously like the palette, but I just hadn't used it in a while. I'm trying to figure out if I want to use the red shade in it or not. Let me see. Let me swatch it. Ooh, yeah, I do. It's a nice burnt color. Okay, let's use the red. I wonder, like, I don't know if anyone else thinks about that, but I wonder in like 5 years, like how we're all gonna look back on 2020. You know, obviously we won't know until we get there, but I wonder how we're gonna think about all of this. Because obviously none of us have ever lived through anything quite like this in our life. And I think it's that way for a lot of people. Like there's, you know, you've graduated, a lot of people graduated from college or from high school or from, you know, grad school, and you graduated in 2020. And so in that way it was an exciting year, or like in the same way like we purchased our first home, but also like, I mean, 2020 was not a great year overall. And a lot of people have died, and it's just insane. And that's something we're never gonna forget. But yeah, I guess the one good thing, well, obviously we feel very blessed and very fortunate to actually be in a position where we can purchase a new home. Like in some ways it's crazy that's happening this, I mean, in a lot of ways it's crazy that's actually happening this year. But yeah, I just wonder what it'll be like. But I guess the good thing is even if this keeps going on for a while, at least I'll have something to keep me very busy, because there are a lot of things, you know, there's always something you can do around your house. So whether it's, you know, taking on projects or decorating or whatever, I am certainly gonna have things to keep me busy. Okay, let me get some mascara. And I've been using the Lauren Conrad Beauty Mascara. I have a review of a whole bunch of Lauren Conrad Beauty makeup, so if you haven't seen that, check that video up. I'll link it up above. But yeah, the mascara is, you know, pretty good. I'm also gonna be curling my lashes here. It's always hard to talk and do this. Yeah, I guess for us, I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, I'm going to keep my channel up, but I'm not entirely sure what's gonna happen kind of with the whole moving process and my content schedule. If there will be a contact break for a while, I imagine there will be, because, you know, if you've ever moved before, it's always the whole ordeal, and always ends up taking longer and just being more of a process than you anticipate. So I suspect that there will probably be a little break for a while. I'll try and let you guys know when that's coming on Instagram. So if you don't follow me at naturallybeautifulgirlkat, be sure to follow me there. Also, I'll try and use the YouTube community tab. I always forget to use that. I should use that more. It's probably be good for my channel. But yeah, I can let you guys know kind of like what's going on if I'm going to be on a little break for a while. But if I am, just know that it is because I'm in the middle of moving. And also, I mean, it's cool because like we're moving around the holidays, but it's also kind of crazy because there's like Thanksgiving thrown in and all that. So I feel like I've been curling my lashes forever. I just changed out the pad, I know it sounds crazy, on my eyelash curler, and I feel like I'm having a harder time curling my lashes than I did my old little like pad thing. So I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, that's pretty curled. My lashes tend to stick like very straight out. So it takes quite a bit of curling to get them to actually go up. But yeah, so it'll be exciting, and you know, I think in the end, once I get everything all set up, it'll actually be a much better setup than what we have here. I don't think I'll have to be sitting in front of a door, so we might be able to get something a little bit more aesthetic going on, which is always nice. Like I said, it's gonna be an adventure trying to like get that all set up and decorated and stuff, but should be fun. And change is good. You guys are gonna get a change of scenery, and I will too. It's also weird too, because we're realizing like this will be, because I'm moving in like right before the holidays, we're gonna spend like our first Christmas in the house and all that. And especially because normally we would travel to Florida to spend Christmas with my parents. So I grew up in Florida and my parents still live there. But with everything going on, we are not interested in getting on a plane right now. And also like more than that, I worry about my parents because they're in a higher risk category and I don't want to expose them. So we won't be flying down to Florida for Christmas, so that means we're going to be spending it here, which is really cool because it'll be in our new house, but it's also really sad because it would be so awesome to actually be able to spend it with like our family in the new house, but it is what it is at this point. I need some lipstick. Let's see what shade I should go with. Let's see, I've pulled out Red Apple lipstick, Spice and Easy. I love Red Apple lipsticks. Let's see how the shade, yeah, this is a good shade. And there we go, got a nice fall look on. I kind of caught you up on what's been going on. And yeah, I hope you'll stay along with me for the journey. And if you like this video, if you like kind of chatty get ready with me's, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And also be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell button so you're notified of when I post new videos. And come follow me on Instagram. I'm at naturallybeautifulgirlkat, especially during this kind of transitional time. Make sure to follow me on there. Thank you so much for watching me and supporting me. Let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm sure if we all think there's been something really awesome that's happened during 2020, let us know in the comment section down below, what is the best thing that has happened to you in 2020 so far? It can be, you know, something huge, like you got pregnant, or you had a kid, or you graduated. It can be something huge or something small, just like whatever you feel was one of the best things that happened to you. Let's leave some positivity down in the comment section for everybody, as it's been a rough year, but you know, there's little glimmers of awesome things that have happened to all of us. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!